Not to my knowledge, Commissioner.
Thank you. We'll go right into technical and public service.
All right, we have two items. The first one is recommendation concerning community redevelopment agency meetings, meeting minutes. Second one is recommendation concerning scheduling and advertising at a public hearing to consider amending both the Atwood redevelopment area as to boundaries only and the ordinance relating to the Atwood Redevelopment Trust Fund, that the board authorize the scheduling and advertising of a public hearing for Tuesday, January 9th, 2024 at 5:32. Consider amending the following. A, Atwood redevelopment plan as to boundaries only, and B, ordinance of Escambia County, Florida, amending chapter 46.
Mr. Chairman, I move the agenda if there's no comments. Move the technical public service consent.
We have a motion.
Second.
Please vote. Just raise your hand. That passes unanimous. Thank you so much. Budget and finance.
Yes, we have three for your approval, A and a B, and all three. First one was a recommendation concerning residential rehab grant program funding and lien agreements. Second one is a recommendation concerning the cancellation of residential rehab grant program liens. And the third is recommendation concerning residential roof program funding and lien agreements.
Chair, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Please vote. Passes unanimous. Thank you so much. Is there anything for discussion?
Not from us.
Thank you. With that, we stand adjourned. Commissioner Barry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, folks. First time we've been together in a little bit. I'm sure there's some comments from board members, but short of anyone objecting to that, we'll save those for tonight. All right. All right. We'll move right into agenda review. Robert, you've got invocation? Yes, sir. Perfect. Mike, you want to do pledge? No problem. Yep. Any items to be added to the agenda that haven't been circulated yet, Madam Counsel?
No, sir, although there may be an update to item 1-3 on my report if we get a document in time.
Super. Lumen?
I may have one discretionary, but I'll get it circulated through today.
All right. Super.
Nothing for me.
Mike? Robert?
I might make an amendment to something during agenda review, but other than that, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. And Dawn, there's one more discretionary I didn't give you this morning. I apologize. Okay. So there'll be one that will get distributed, just a small discretionary item. Mr. Administrator?
Yeah, I have three scheduling public hearings, but we'll have them circulated today.
Okay. Super. Wes, I'll let you go into it.
Okay, we have the proclamations. I think they'll be delivered by Chris Phillips.
Okay.
And then we have public hearings, adopted the uniform method of collection resolution. 533 is public hearing for consideration of adopting an ordinance relating to pedestrian and roadway safety. Then you have the clerk and comptroller's report.
I have nothing to add. As stands, thank you.
Growth management.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, and board members. Tonight, we have the rezoning case Z23-24. Then we have the 545, that is the amending of the zoning map. We have rezoning case Z23-25. 546 is the adoption, amending of official zoning map. Then we have the 547, a small-scale map amendment. 548, this is the second public hearing concerning amending Chapter 3 overlay districts. Then we have our consent agenda for January the 9th.
Thank you, Horace. Technical public service consent agenda. Item number 1 is concerning acceptance of the 2023 Affordable Housing Advisory Committee Incentive Plan Review Report. 2 is concerning Community Redevelopment Agency meeting minutes. 3 is concerning scheduling and advertising a public hearing to consider amending both the Atwood redevelopment area to boundaries only and the ordinance relating to the Atwood Redevelopment Trust Fund. 4 is concerning the covenant of purpose, use, and ownership between Escambia County, Florida, and U.S. Department of the Treasury regarding the 11 Mile Creek Regional Stormwater Pond.
Mr. Chairman, I didn't mean to cut
Yes,
Wes
sir.
off. Is there, because I serve on the AAC board representing the county, are there any concerns about this item?
No, so this is just, we're simply just accepting the report.
Okay.
That's all we're doing.
All right, thanks, Wes.
Item 5 is concerning authorization to take action on a defaulted agreement for reimbursement of paramedic training program expenses. 6 is concerning the transfer of machinery and equipment to the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. 7 is concerning the recruitment incentive eligibility. 8 is concerning a community center license and management agreement for a county-owned facility. 9 is concerning the request for disposition of property for the Mass Transit Department. 10 is concerning the revised purchase order, general terms and conditions. 11 is concerning an appointment to the Escambia County Extension Council. 12 is concerning the disposition of property for the Public Works Department. 13 is concerning the limited waiver of the Escambia County Noise Abatement Ordinance for the Floribama New Year's Eve fireworks display. 14 is concerning the scheduling of a public hearing to repeal and replace Escambia County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 14, Buildings and Building Regulations. 15 is concerning the acceptance of real property located in the 6,000 block of St. Elmo Street.
All right, Board, there's going to be 3 or 4 items that I will have to abstain from tonight. I'm going to try to do them as a block. They're all related to the same, entity, but we'll do that at the beginning of the meeting tonight.
16 is concerning the conveyance of utility easement to the Emerald Coast Utilities Authorities. 17 is concerning a hold harmless and indemnification agreement between Escambia County, Florida and Chabad Pensacola, Inc. 18 is concerning an information report for Florida Power and Light street lighting agreements. 19 is concerning a student internship agreement with the University of West Florida. 20 is concerning the change of date of the approved limited waiver of the Escambia County Noise Abatement Ordinance for the Soundside Merchants Bamboo Willie's Lighted Boat Parade.
Mr. Chairman, on this, we're having to add this because it was canceled last week. There is a chance of rain for this weekend. So this is the item I spoke of earlier. So I might extend the time or add a date or something like that to this so that we can go, for whatever reason it doesn't happen between 7:30 and 8, that they can still do it this weekend or some other time between now and our next meeting, so.
Okay. 21 is concerning a letter of support for the Northwest Florida Tourism Council. Your budget finance consent agenda. Item 1 is concerning the cancellation of residential rehab grant program liens. 2 is concerning residential rehab grant program funding and lien agreements. 3 is concerning residential roof program funding and lien agreements. 4 is concerning change order number 12 on contract PD 15-16.043 to Mott McDonald, Florida, design services for the Pito Bay boat ramp. 5 is concerning a Quadient digital mailing system for environmental code enforcement. 6 is concerning fiscal year 2023-2024 state financial assistance recipient agreement number 30634 with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services for the Mosquito Control Division in the amount of $37,748.53. 7 is concerning the State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection Resilient Florida Program Grant Agreement number 24SRP05 in the amount of $5,150,000 for the Pensacola Bay Living Shoreline Project along Sherman Inlet and White Island. 8 is concerning the SMG Management Services Agreement for the Pensacola Bay Center. 9 is concerning the Florida Power and Light Company lighting agreements. 10 is concerning the federally funded subaward and grant agreement number G0504 for public safety. 11 is concerning authorization to take action related to defaulted contracts for reimbursement of hiring incentive bonuses. 12 is concerning Escambia County Corrections Uniforms Contract, PD 18-19.048. 13 is concerning the first of 2 possible renewals for PD 21-22.128, Escambia County Department Supplies. 14 is concerning the second of 2 possible renewals with Global Tellink Corporation for PD 18-19.075, inmate telephone system. 15 is concerning the issuance of a purchase order in excess of $50,000 for fiscal year 2023-2024 to George Stone for the Corrections Department. 16 is concerning the State Law Enforcement Trust Fund. 17 is concerning supplemental budget amendment number SBA 24008 for fiscal year 2024 vehicle auto auctions. 18 is concerning supplemental budget amendment SBA 24012 for fiscal year 2024 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant. 19 is concerning the issuance of a purchase order to Cox Communications for internet services at community parks. 20 is concerning the issuance of fiscal year 2023-2024 purchase orders in excess of $50,000 for the Parks and Recreations Department. 21 is concerning the grant agreement providing fiscal year 2024 block grant funding to the Mass Transit Department. 22 is concerning grant application providing capital funding for fiscal year 2024 through 2025, enhanced mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities, Section 5310. 23 is concerning the issuance of purchase orders in excess of $50,000 for the Mass Transit Department. 24 is concerning public transit grant agreement providing fiscal year 2024, Section 5311 non-urbanized area formula off-cycle program grant funding to the Escambia County Mass Transit Department. 25 is concerning public transportation grant agreement providing fiscal year 2024-2025 urban corridor grant funding to the Escambia County Area Transit. 26 is concerning the purchase, replacement / expansion vehicles for the Baldwin County apportionment of the Florida-Alabama 5307 urbanized area. 27 is concerning the Florida Department of Transportation Section 5311 non-urbanized operating funding grant application. 28 is concerning change order number 4 to purchase order number 221491 T&K Construction LLC. 29 is concerning the acceptance of the fiscal year 2023 $25,000 to $50,000 purchasing report for the fourth quarter. 30 is concerning the interlocal agreement with the town of Century, Florida relating to lawn maintenance for the Century Branch Library. 31 is concerning the price and proposal acceptance with Baker and Taylor LLC relating to ongoing print material. 32 is concerning the administrative contractual change for the purchase of 2 2025 Spartan pumper fire trucks for Escambia County Fire Rescue. 33 is concerning the purchase of multiple pieces of equipment for the Parks and Recreations Department. 34 is concerning the purchase of 1 2023 Ford F-150 regular cab 4x4 truck for the Natural Resources Department. 35 is concerning the purchase of 1 2023 Ford F-150 crew cab 4x4 truck for the Emergency Management Department. 36 is concerning the purchase of 3 2024 Ford Expedition XL 4x4 trucks for the Emergency Medical Services. 37 is concerning the purchase of 10 2024 Mack dump trucks for the Public Works Department. 38 is concerning the contract award for floodplain management software for the Building Services Department. 39 is concerning establishing a full-time inspector 2 for the Building Services Department. 40 is concerning the acceptance of a conservation easement for Rocky Branch Dirt Road paving. 41 is concerning the acceptance of a drainage easement for the Beeland Road and Camden Road drainage project. 42 is concerning the acceptance of a utility easement for the Ferry Pass Community Center project. 43 is concerning the authorization for staff to start acquisition due diligence for the proposed purchase of 8941 Walbeek Road. 44 is concerning the contract approval for the Brownsville Library renovations. 45 is concerning the contract approval for the design and construction of the Pensacola Beach public dressing rooms at Casino Beach. 46 is concerning the contract approval for the Neville Air Station Pensacola West Entrance Gateway sign. 47 is concerning the contract award for the computerized maintenance management system for various county departments. 48 is concerning default on the purchase of county-owned real property located at 5990 Red Cedar Street. 49 is concerning amendment number 1 to agreement number 22 FRP 85 between the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and the Escambia County Board of County Commissioners for the French's Heights Stormwater Improvements Project. 50 is concerning change order number 1 on contract PD 19-20.080 general paving and drainage agreement for a 9.5-mile road sidewalk project from Messick Street to Cove Avenue. 51 is concerning the contract award for the Casino Beach Fishing Pier Federal Emergency Management Agency project. 52 is concerning the contract award for construction, engineering, and inspection services for the Olive Road Street Improvement Project. 53 is concerning the contract award for construction, engineering, and inspection services for the Pensacola Bay Fishing Bridge Replacement Federal Emergency Management Project. 54 is concerning the contract award for construction, engineering, and inspection services for the South Kimstrand Road Drainage and Sidewalk Improvements Project. 55 is concerning contract award for the general paving and drainage agreement. 56 is concerning Dory Miller sidewalks. 57 is concerning the license and hosting agreement with the Beach Colony East Condominium Association, Inc. for installation of a traffic camera. 58 is concerning the memorandum of agreement with Publix Supermarkets for construction of a traffic signal on Blue Angel Parkway. 59 is concerning the State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection Standard Grant Agreement, number LPA 0516 for the Gulf Beach Highway Drainage Outfall at Sunset Patton Elite Winthrop Project. 60 is concerning the adoption of a resolution approving a plan of finance for multifamily housing revenue bonds and authorizing the Escambia County Housing Finance Authority to issue not exceeding $8 million multifamily housing revenue bonds for multifamily rental housing located in Gadsden County, Florida. 61 is concerning the adoption of a resolution approving a plan of finance for multi-housing revenue bonds and authorizing the Escambia County Housing Finance Authority to issue not exceeding $21 million multifamily housing revenue bonds for multifamily rental housing located in Escambia County. 62 is concerning the adoption of a resolution approving a plan of finance for multifamily housing revenue bonds and authorizing the Escambia County Housing Finance Authority to issue not exceeding $32 million multifamily housing revenue bonds for multifamily rental housing located in Orange County. 63 is concerning the adoption of a resolution approving a plan of finance for single-family housing revenue bonds for low-interest loans to first-time homebuyers. 64 is concerning a funding allocation to the Gulf Coast Council of the Boy Scouts of America. 65 is concerning a funding allocation to the Covenant Care Foundation. 66 is concerning a funding allocation to the Pace Center for Girls, Inc., Wine Wall. 67 is concerning a funding allocation to the Pace Center for Girls, Inc., Men Who Cook event. 68 is concerning a funding allocation for Filipino American Association of Pensacola, Inc. 69 is concerning a funding allocation for the Allen Community Development and Service Center. 70 is concerning a funding allocation for Ready Kids. 71 is concerning a funding allocation for the Pine Meadow Elementary PTA. 72 is concerning the issuance of a purchase order to McKim and Creed, Inc. on contract PD 0203.79 professional services for design services for the Deerfield Drive Drainage Project. Then we have our discussion agenda. Item 1 is concerning the Supervisor of Elections request to add a voting precinct in the western section of Escambia County. 2 is in reference to a letter of interest we received regarding the purchase of OLF 8. And 3 is a discussion regarding domes. And that wraps up all of my agendas.
Mr. Chairman, are we going to discuss these items today, or is it your prerogative that we do it tonight?
It's whatever the majority of the board. Let's let Allison discuss her portion, then we can come back to the administrator portion. Allison?
Yes, sir. Just a brief note. Remember, with regards to discussion items, that there's no specific recommendation there. So if you make a motion on any of those, if you would please indicate in your motion what exactly it is you're trying to get out of the board. If it's authorization to sign something or whatever, please include that in your motion. Number 2, please recall there's a SHADE meeting this afternoon that begins at 3:30, and you do need to convene in this room at 3:30 to kick that off. That's related to our jail litigation. And then the county attorney's report does have 3 items for this evening. Item number 1 is ratifying contract terms for election systems and software that you have previously voted on, but we have some additional terms that were not voted on at the last meeting in November. Item number 2 is a proposed settlement coming out of a mediation that was held prior to an MSPB hearing. The mediation was overseen by Attorney Keith Wells. And item number 3 is a potential settlement for if you remember, you were successful in this case. This is Van Nitskell and Knoll versus Escambia County and the Island Authority, and this would cease the appeal that the plaintiffs brought when they lost the case. And those are my 3 items. If you have any questions, I can answer them now or during the day today.
Thank you, Madam Counsel. Board, seeing nothing for her. What's the appetite in the majority? I want to discuss the discussion items this morning. Okay. All right. First is going to be related to our lovely partner from the Supervisor of Elections Office, looking at a facility on the west side. I don't know, Sonia, or do you want to discuss it for a second?
If there's any questions on the first item of the county attorney's report, while she's here as well,
Good morning, Commissioner. Sonia.
She's pretty savvy. Nobody mentioned spending money, so I doubt Sonia's going to bring it up. So what's happening on the west side of town?
Good morning, Commissioner. Sonia Daniel, Deputy Supervisor of Elections. The request in the discussion item is to split a current precinct. Precinct 43, there on the west side of town in Commissioner Burgash's district, is growing substantially. We actually came before you 4 years ago and did an initial split the area of Precinct 43 on the north side of 9 Mile Road, created Precinct 114, and in these 4 years, that precinct has grown back up to that original amount. So what we're proposing is using Mobile Highway as the dividing line, and that property between Mobile Highway and 9 Mile Road will become a new precinct 115 with approximately 4,000 plus residents in that voting precinct. And that original section of 43, which is south of Mobile Highway, with just about 2,500 voters. So you can see that's a very large number to have in a single precinct. And so that's our recommendation or request of you today.
Thank you, Sonia. Jeff?
Yes, Sonia, thanks for being here. And Supervisor of Elections Stafford did call, and being a member of Precinct 43, I understand it's big and it needs to be split again. My question is, we're coming up on an election. We've got the presidential preference primary in March. That's, a lot of people are not paying attention to what we do, and they're doing other things. And how are we going to get the message out to make sure that people don't show up at the wrong place? And then what happens if people don't pay attention? A lot of people don't pay attention to stuff, and they show up at 43. Are they going to be told, hey, or could they do a provisional ballot at 43 if they come to the wrong precinct?
So I'll start with the first question on how we're going to notify. We are required by statute to do notification for all impacted voters, which
How
will
do we do that?
mail. We will mail something to every single resident who is impacted. That is the requirement in statute. They'll get a letter with a new voter card indicating the change in precinct and where their new voting location would be. There will be additional, as part of our routine stuff leading up to the election, we take full-page ads out. We do news, radio, and we do TV, announcing polling location changes, where those locations are at. And of course, every precinct that we have has within their materials precincts that have changed since the previous location, which then takes us to those folks that go to precinct 43, and they go to check them in, and they say, oh, you're in the new 115, it's here. There is a provision that they can do a provisional ballot for those members of the board that have served on the canvassing board. It is in statute that they must vote in their home precinct for a provisional ballot to be accepted. But the canvassing board makes that final determination. But we can issue them a provisional ballot. It will then go to the canvassing board for them to adjudicate it at that point in time. But they also, as long as they don't arrive 5 minutes before polls close,
They can drive to the-
there would be time for them to leave and drive to Beulah Baptist Church, which will be the location where they'll be voting at.
Wait, Beulah Baptist is 43. What's the new?
Beulah Free Will Baptist
Will.
is 43.
Okay.
And then Beulah Baptist on Beulah Road will be the new 115.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Super. Robert? Sure.
And then it'll also be included in all the materials that you send out, like the sample ballot and things like
Yes.
that?
Yes.
And so, okay.
Yeah, every voter that has not requested a vote by mail ballot will receive a sample ballot in the mail, and it will say this is your polling location. So they would have to ignore a lot of things that come from our office, but we know sometimes folks just don't read that, but we do take every possible effort to make sure that they know where they're voting.
Super. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Board, next item is concerning the letter that was received about OLF 8. Any comments, discussions? Jeff, sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd like to, we could discuss it tonight or we could discuss it today, but obviously we don't talk about things like this until we're at a meeting like this. So I've looked at it, and I just would like to know what the thoughts of the board are. I mean, obviously, this is something that we would want to, if we want to entertain it seriously, we would want to, I think we would want to direct staff to respond to it. I do have some concerns with it that I've expressed, but I'd like to hear from you as well. People are asking me. I have no idea what you think.
Sure.
So I'd like to know.
Board, Robert, go ahead.
Yeah, Jeff, what are your concerns? Because I haven't,
Yeah, well,
if you say anything, I haven't seen it online or anything like that, so I don't know. So
no. Well, obviously the price. I think we need a little bit more upfront. I don't like the 12-month due diligence period. I think a little more earnest money needs to be put up, and I think it needs to go hard in a shorter period of time. I think there's a request for a rezoning to agricultural to get out from under paying taxes. I don't know that I'd have an appetite to do that. I just think there's some wiggle room. And I also want to ask the attorney and find out whether or not to structure it this way what happens if because we have a Triumph grant for Frank Reeder Road to harden that road and make it more accessible for heavy trucks going into the field. What happens if we get the Triumph grant and then the worst scenario happens, we are not able to fill it and we have to honor the option exercises from the purchaser? Would we be subject to a clawback at that point?
Yeah, I do think that in most of those Triumph agreements that they are providing for clawback provisions, so I would think that that would be a risk.
Okay, so that's a concern that I have as well, and I've discussed it with the folks who are, provided the purchase. But those are my initial concerns. I do like the fact that they look to be wanting to stay more true to the master plan. I like the larger town center area. That seems to be what my constituents want. We had a couple days charrette, and that came up multiple times out in Beulah. So those are my concerns, Robert.
Robert? Yeah, go ahead, bud. Robert? Yeah, Jeff, I mean, I share some of the same concerns. I mean, it's, not the same entity that, we kind of moved forward with some discussions with before, but some of the concerns are the same, where the top line number, in the previous discussion, I was good with that. I was always concerned as to whether we were going to receive, that money. That was my concern. And, obviously we went back and forth a number of times with, with proposed drafts of contracts and just weren't able to, I don't think we were ever able to get to terms that any of us and the attorney and the administrator were comfortable that we would actually receive those funds, in some level of surety. If we had debt on the property, if we were more of a, if we were more of a distressed seller, then I would, I think I would be more interested in it. That may still be where, may still be where some properties go, may be where some projects are headed, depending on what happens with the economy and with interest rates. It seems like, perhaps the Fed has, that we've hit a peak of rates. There may still be a quarter point, but it's starting to seem like there may not be another quarter point increase, that the next move actually may be down. I think I would like a proposal, if it's not encompassing everything that we didn't want to set aside for economic development, then I think I would still like one, kind of a proposal that's one bite at the apple for it, rather than tying up options, kind of tying our hands, where then if we did have an opportunity for another parcel, we would end up negotiating with other people to negotiate with other people. And I don't like, I don't like the premise of that. I still think the board has been pretty clear about leaving behind 250 acres at least for economic development. This doesn't quite do that. So, based on the discussions we've had publicly, I think that would be the starting point. Would be if I was going to, make a proposal that didn't involve an economic development partner immediately, then I think I would start with something that clearly delineated 250 acres being left behind, because I think our board has been pretty clear about that. And then the top line number, that top line number per acre that Horton, was discussing, that was never my issue. I didn't, the number in the LOI was, I thought was a reasonably good number. Yeah, I thought, and then based on discussions with, commercial appraisers and developers here, in the Horton letter, I thought that was I thought those were good numbers. It did more heavily weight the front feet on 9 Mile Road, which are obviously the most valuable. And I know it would be easier for the board and, easier for, administration and us if we just had one person, if we had one person walk in for everything, that'd be great. If we were short of that and we had one person, that was going to be the economic development partner for the 250 on the north side, that'd be great. And then we had the, 250, 290 on the south side. That was one clean transaction. That would be great. That's not what I, kind of see this being. And short of that, I'd almost rather entertain just literal out parcel development, where if we had, somebody come in, I know you folks have, expressed interest in town centers and restaurants and those kind of things. I would be very open to just if, ABC restaurant came and said, we're looking for 4 acres, 4 acres of an out parcel. And, I'd be very open-minded to that. One of the things that I didn't like, this is not the Horton LOI, but, a different LOI that we had, when the economic development partner wasn't there, then it turned into them wanting to basically broker the property for us. And I didn't, I didn't like that. I didn't like that premise. But I'm very open. I want to start divesting some of the parcels. I mean, I do want to do that, but I want to do it in a way that's clean, the numbers are good, and if we have to start with 4 acres here and 5 acres here and 8 acres here, then I'm okay, I'm okay with that.
Let me ask you something
Yeah.
in response to what you said, because I don't know, about 4 months ago, I think this will be the 6th offer we've had of between official and unofficial. So about 3.5, 4 months ago, I brought to this board the idea, well, let's start where we agree, the 250 acres. I heard that number loud and clear.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. Let's start with the 250 acres, and let's give it to Florida West or whatever we're going to do, get the Triumph going. And, is it time to bring that idea back?
Well,
I mean, because I want to do something.
Yeah,
I don't want to
me
sit
too.
here and be,
Yeah. And I think, the PDC meetings, I know all the board isn't there, but they are public meetings, and I think, hopefully the board is hearing about the discussions there, and I know you and I have been very, very forward in those meetings. Wes, we're moving forward with the Triumph for Frank Reeder, for the improvements there.
Yes, we have had some discussions. We'll be moving forward with that.
Okay. I mean, we have a very friendly board. I think the board is unanimously or universally supportive of making sure we're moving forward with the Triumph for Frank Reeder Road. And, I don't know about your conversations privately with, the new ED for Florida West, but, publicly and privately, I've told him, consider it yours to bring us a deal.
Right,
Let
right,
us be let us be the hindrance that stops something happening out there.
Right.
Get it off of your plate, where we can't say, well, you haven't brought us a deal.
Well, and that leads me to my next point, Stephen. I think that's a great idea. I'm totally in agreement with it. But I think if this board makes the statement that 250 is off limits, we've been kind of, we just haven't really acted as if that was really important. I'll just put it that way, because we didn't do anything 3.5 months ago when we brought it. If that's the way you want to go, I'm with you 100%. Let's do it. But I think we need to maybe take board action and say that 250 is off limits. We're going to aggressively start bringing jobs, and we're going to use that. That would allow the private market to have a more realistic idea, because they're hearing mixed messages. They're hearing us say, well, we want this, but we don't want this. We had an offer for the whole thing, but no, we can't do it because we have to have a Triumph grant. My opinion was, if we got $42 million for the property, I don't care about Triumph. We don't need Triumph if we're getting $40 million. But other people had different ideas, and they wanted to put their imprimatur on it.
The if getting that in hand was the issue.
Well, sure,
That
but
was-
we never even took the step, is what I'm saying.
Well, we couldn't. Well, I think the board, in that instance, I think the board was willing to take the steps to close for $42 million. There were,
Problems.
yeah, we just, there's terms, and, it's nothing dealing with the people personally, that we were dealing with locally, or even, leadership out of Baldwin County. But, dealing with a publicly traded company, I mean, we kept deleting, we kept striking terms in the, in the contract that kept reappearing in the version that came back to us. So, I'm good with that, and,
What, the 250 and so?
yeah, if that will help, I'll just tell you, I mean, I have told Brian that, look,
I have too.
consider it available for conversations and projects. I haven't heard anything back yet.
I told him, look at the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I know we've done that at PEDC. I think from my point of view, I'm open-minded to whatever goes, to whatever happening out there. I want a good number, and I want something that can reasonably happen. What I don't want to do is be considered a distressed seller where we need to do something because, I know we want to do something, but we don't necessarily need to. So, I don't want to be considered a distressed seller, and I don't want to do something that ties our hands for 12, 18, 24 months.
Sure.
And maybe walk away with nothing.
No,
And that's
yeah.
those are just things that that are kind of non-starters. But-
No, I appreciate that. Well, I mean, I think if we carved out 250 and said, look, hands off, we're going to do it, we're going to keep it. And I think that lets folks like the current bidders kind of maybe retool their offer. Yeah,
Rob,
thanks.
What do you think?
Yeah, so I'd say I told Brian the same thing when I met with him when he first came in. I said,
Yeah.
if you get anything from this meeting, go market that property. I mean, it is yours to go market. And so,
Let us be the reason that something fails.
Right.
You know, so we can't blame you, we can't blame an agency or an entity. Let us be, you know, let you be able to go back to your board and say, you know what, hey, I took those guys' deals and they kept shooting them down, and I mean, we're not there yet, so hopefully we will.
And, you know, he's done some similar things in his past, so I think he had some contacts, and so hopefully he's running those down. So first, I'd like to say I appreciate the time that Fred has put into this and coming to meet with us and everything. I would also say that, you know, I think that the proposal is more in line with the master plan, and I appreciate them looking at that and really considering that as they put their plan together. But I would also agree, though, is that, I mean, I didn't know that we weren't clear on that we wanted to keep the 250 or proceed with the 250. And so I would say my concerns are the same as yours, Commissioner Berry, with of having a hard, fast deadline and agreeing to terms on that property as we continue to, you know, do things like add the interchange and things like that. So
What do you think about it even, I mean, I know we've said, you know, basically all offers will be entertained, but, you know, really, if it was one, you know, just one standalone out parcel that was, you know, ABC, fancy sit-down restaurant or whatever, and I feel like once we, you know, break the seal on something happening on the property, you know, you know, optimism, positivity, good things breed good things. I mean, you know, activity is going to breed activity, you know, and maybe that's maybe that's an avenue towards success for us. And maybe that's even a possibility with, you know, with Fred and Chad and their group. You know, maybe it's easier, you know, taking one bite of the elephant. I mean, you know, you're having to take, I mean, anybody that's doing development right now, the capital requirements have changed. They're you know, banks and other lending agencies are repricing, you know, they're repricing portfolios and, you know, adjusting loan to values and adjusting loan to values for new projects as well, as far as what they're, you know, the risks they're willing to take. And, you know, going from, you know, 80-20 to 70-30 doesn't sound like much, but it does sound like it's a lot when you're considering the fact you're increasing the capital you've got to have in the project by 50%. You know, it does change that dynamic. So, you know, if we just, you know, kind of got it out there, that we'd be, you know, the smaller bites at the apple might be more tenable, and it might also open the door for more local development, more local partners that don't feel like they have to try to take down 250 at one time, you know, in that area. You know.
So I'm probably not prepared to give an answer to that. I'd have to learn a little bit more about what that does. I'd say my initial concern is that I hear what you're saying, and I could see that. I guess my other concern is not having someone there. You end up with mix match and pots and stuff like, you know.
Maybe,
and again,
yeah, maybe.
So
I think
mean,
it
but you
just
end up with
depends on what
something, though,
it
right?
depends on what the deal is. I mean,
Right.
and that's what I'm saying. I mean, if it's, you know, if it's another storage facility that wants 5 acres on the frontage of 9 Mile, you know, I mean, even the administrator has mentioned a few times, I guess there's a lot of storage facilities in Beulah right now, and that the board might not really deem that very favorable, but if it was, you know, if it was something else, then, you know, or if we had, like, I think, you know, a number of us were, you know, were pleased with the Sterling portion of the discussions from earlier this year. You know, if they came forward with a, you know, with one flagship and some ancillary, you know, some ancillary stuff for, you know, for 15, 18 acres, then maybe, you know, maybe that works, or, you know, or something like that. I know that they're working to try to fill the Ransley Station, you know, property, which is, you know, which there's been, you know, a little bit of change there to more multifamily from, you know, more multifamily, less mixed use, less, you know, commercial and retail, but there's still going to be commercial and retail there. And, you know, I'm excited to see that stuff, you know, kind of move forward.
Yeah. You know, I'd say I'd probably be more open to looking at some type of partnership or something like that, they're not required to, you know, again, being a partnership, they're not required to pay us up front, and that maybe we get more as things come online with some parameters or something like that, if it helps with the books or something. I'd probably like to see more of that, because, as they sign on, then we'd get a lot of that or something like, something, but.
Okay. I mean, it just depends on what the deal is. I don't
yeah.
know exactly what you're talking about, but if, I'm open-minded to it.
I guess, for me, I think and again, I do want to commend them for putting a lot of effort into the walkability of the parcel and connectivity and, I think it was golf cart lanes and everything like that. So, I think that's where you somewhat need, someone having the whole property or we end up probably having to do those things.
Well, and I think the board has discussed this a little bit. I mean, this might be something that's valuable. Allison, I know we've had some discussions about it, but, I mean, do you think there's any reason, and, I forget some of the discussions that we've had, that I've had with you and Wes privately versus what we've said publicly, but, that we don't have CDD districts in Escambia County yet, but that the board, may proactively, in the same way that Jeff's talking about kind of memorializing that we want to set aside the 250, making it clear that we don't have an issue with, with people wrapping the district and, whether it's CDD or,
100%.
a standalone
Yes.
TIF or whatever.
Yes.
Because to any of the larger developers that I've talked to, and I'm sure y'all as well, they've all talked about the need for that, for its own revenue to, to recover, to produce the infrastructure portions that need to get put out there. So I don't think that that's an issue. I know we don't have one in the county, but I don't think that's an issue. It doesn't seem like.
I think, I think there's some in Gulf Shores or something, or Orange Beach, where.
I think Santa Rosa
We're-
County just either passed one or is
Yeah.
discussing one. Allison, do you remember seeing that in the paper? A CDD?
I think it was discussed as part of the Jubilee or whatever that very large
The defunct?
development was, and I don't know that
Okay.
it's gone
Okay,
forward.
all right. But you think Gulf Shores has them
I
active?
think Gulf Shores is like
I mean, they're prevalent in the state, just
Yeah.
not necessarily. Oh, it was either Okaloosa or Panama City. They did recently, it was Okaloosa. It was Destin area, did pass one pretty recently, a CDD. Craig might,
Craig, any idea?
yeah. I think it was related to a Horton development there that,
We passed a tax increment financing district related to our bypass where we capture those revenues, but I don't know we passed a CDD for residential development?
yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, pretty
Oh, sorry.
recently, within this calendar year, right?
Yes, sir.
The spring or summer?
Less than 2 months ago.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, all
For
right, thanks for coming.
1,200, sorry.
Yeah, it's good use of your trip down here.
So Stephen, the idea of a standalone parcel, if it's a full-service restaurant, I'd probably support that.
yeah.
Because we desperately need a full-service restaurant in Buell. I've
I
said
mean,
that.
I just want to make us open to as many ideas as people can put forward to us, I mean,
But like Robert said, and I do share his only concern would be if you did that and then you did another, it'd be easy for it to become like a hodgepodge of this and that and the other thing, and then it wouldn't be as cohesive as having one developer come in with a vision.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not gonna get top dollar when you do it that way, but there has to be some profit incentive for them to take the risk. I mean, regardless, anything could happen in the Middle East right now. They say that they're probably gonna start cutting rates. I have no idea what they're really gonna do. If we have a bad month and suddenly inflation spikes again, they'll keep adding. They'll add another 25 basis points. You know that they will.
well, in my opinion, there's a separation between the Fed's decisions and what's happening in families in reality.
Absolutely.
currently.
Of
And,
course there is.
for whatever reason that is.
Well,
you can
meanwhile,
fill
I
the
appreciate the conversation, the
Yeah.
discussion, but where does that leave us with this LOI? Is this going to be another one we just,
If,
because we got to make a decision. It's not fair to these guys to keep them.
it's the terms in it aren't something that I'm willing to agree to. How close is it to something I would be willing to agree to? Not especially close to me.
Okay.
But
What if we said, take that offer, subtract 250 acres, rethink the price, and come back with something?
yeah, Robert.
That's the closest thing I'm going to be able to get.
And
42 million. Well, this is different. It's less, and the economy is different as well. 32 million total if you exercise all the options. Yeah. So they're here in the audience. They're
Yeah,
listening. I don't
sure.
think we have to take a vote.
No.
You kind of know where we're at. You've listened to the conversations. Thank you. All right. Thank you, guys.
Yep, for sure. All right, next discussion items related to DOMS and the medical examiner facility board. How do y'all want to move forward with it? Discussion.
I've been lobbying on this pretty heavily. I'm sure we all have been.
And Robert, I know Robert's been very engaged. Jeff, do you want to start, or Robert, whoever?
Well, sure. Look, I want to do what's right. I want to do what's best. I want to hear from you. I'll be very honest. I'm 50-50 on this. I'm sitting right there. I see the value of it, but I also know we're going to be expending significant additional taxpayer money to do it. I see the sheriff supports it. I see there's a large group of people that support it. So I'm right there. Mr. Coffey has sent me emails. He's called me. We've talked. Other people have reached out to me. A part of me says this: we could spend $3, $4, $5 million where we are right now and give them an adequate facility that met the requirement. If we build the new facility, we'll spend, more. I mean, I'm saying the group of 4 counties will spend more, but we'll have a first-class, brand-new facility, relatively close. So I'm 50-50 on it right now, to be very honest. It's going to be a game day decision for me. I just don't like the way it, there's things about it I didn't like the way it evolved, but I see the consensus building, so that's where I'm at.
Absolutely, an attempt at the consensus building. Absolutely. Robert?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, so I guess this is probably the culmination of 2 years of work and working with Mr. Coffey and commissioners from Walton, Okaloosa, and Santa Rosa County. I think they've all given something up to get it to this point. And so I'd say, hopefully I was listening to what you guys had said in other things, and so to get Walton up to 15%, and then Santa Rosa and Okaloosa stepping up and agreeing to split the remainder with us, I thought was good. Santa Rosa's agreed to donate the land, and then we still keep, based on Mr. Coffey's suggestion, the Sacred Heart facility as an emergency backup, should it be needed, and it seems like Sacred Heart is good with that. So again, this is something that I've been working on, and I'm going to support it tonight, because if I feel I don't, then I've been negotiating in bad faith for the last 2 years. So it's, we've gotten a smaller facility, we've driven the cost down, we have support from the state, and potentially additional support from the state this year. And so again, it's not everything we probably want, but I think it's a very equitable and fair agreement. Thank you.
Hey, Robert, who's going to do the procurement for the construction of the building? What entity?
I think it would, is it Domes or is it Santa Rosa? I think, correct, yeah.
So the way we set that up is we're going to hire a construction manager at risk as the plan, but to oversee that person, we're asked for an appointee from each county. So you could appoint a public works person, you could appoint a financial person, and obviously Santa Rosa will be building inspection folks. So however much involvement you want, we're prepared to do that, and the Domes Board will oversee the overall financial aspects of the project.
But I guess, who would make the selection on the builder?
That would be a competitive, as far as the construction manager at risk,
the actual builder.
That would be part of the procurement process through our construction manager at risk, I believe. They would take bids and.
So I
I
guess,
think he's
So who's
asking
going to
about
hire that construction manager?
who's making that decision?
Domes or Santa Rosa County is what they're asking, Craig.
Yeah, sorry, is it Domes or Santa Rosa County? that's
It'd be
gonna-
Domes, it would be the collective.
So it'll be a separate entity made up of the circuit who will decide
Yeah.
all the
Yes, sir.
procurement.
Yes, sir. Each county has an appointee. I'm one of, and obviously your appointee is here as well, and we would jointly make that decision, yes, sir. And
And then it goes back to the Domes Board for approval. I guess they make a recommendation.
yes, sir. All change orders and stuff like that would be controlled by the 4 county appointees. Yes, sir.
So the Domes Board would have the final say on all the procurement.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That would not be any change orders. All procurement would go through the Domes Board, your representative.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to thank Robert. He's worked really hard to get this negotiation, and the rates, I think, are more than fair. They're very fair. But I think what we're missing here, and I actually put some stuff in there, the current facility, even if we were to put $3 to $5 million in there, it still probably wouldn't be adequate for what standard of care is for accreditation. And that's why I included this packet in there. You don't have to be accredited, but it's important and it's kind of expected in most forms of medicine these days. And for me, we should pursue that as a board. I mean, I want a state-of-the-art facility. And I looked at all the endorsements from all the sheriffs and the medical society. They had 11 of the last past presidents for the 2 medical societies. And I'll be honest, I asked them to look into it, and they did for me, and I didn't know they were going to put that letter together, but they did. And it was a pretty profound letter, I think, to have that many past presidents of the medical associations to say the importance of forensic medicine. I participated in 10 autopsies, either as assist, watched, or helped between the time I was 19 and 22 years old. If you were to go into that facility, no matter what, we couldn't make that facility better by the layout, no matter what. The way the staff is separated is not what you would want for quality care. There's multiple issues that I don't even know if $3 million would be enough, honestly, Jeff. But I'm a huge supporter of this. I have talked to multiple commissioners, not on this board, but in other 3 counties. I think it's time to move forward with this. I don't want to lose any of the state appropriations. And I hope the board can get there. I know the discussion in the past, if we could keep it in Escambia County, I would have been fine with that. But that never we never got there. So I think at this point, we should strongly consider moving forward with this offer. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Craig, do you have anything to add?
I think you guys know a lot of the details of the project, and I'd be happy to answer any of those, but I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you for your leadership on this. I think you have helped us through this journey. Although it's not been pleasant, always been painful at times. I will say that you've gotten us to a place that I think you originally wanted to get to, which is closer to 25%, but you've got us to a smaller facility. I think you've saved us millions of taxpayers' dollars, and I think we have a project before you now that has the consensus of everyone that we will still be able to build a quality facility, take care of our residents and taxpayers in their final moments. And I can't thank you enough, and appreciate your leadership.
Do you have anything to add that's not in the agreement related to what you think we may be able to get additionally?
Any additional state funding or anything like that?
We have applied for additional state funding for approximately $1.5 million, and I think that's still on the table if we can essentially get it passed this December. So that was kind of the goal when we last met, and I know Senator Broxton's talked to a number of you, and I think he's been a champion and willing to fight for more funding. I think we're breaking new ground with that. We're the first, my understanding, to ever get that medical type of funding, and that will just buy down the cost further. And so that's exciting as well. And we do have in the project budget, we know today's projects don't always go as smooth as we'd like, capital projects. We have 16% contingency in there, so we do have some wiggle room if we do run into some issues as well.
That was going to be my, I'm sorry, Steve.
Go ahead.
So if there were cost overruns, who would be responsible? What entity? And if there were cost savings, who would get refunded? Say if we don't spend the contingency, where's that money go?
The answer is the same. Both. It would get refunded to the 4 counties if there were under budget. If it was over budget, we'd have to go back to the 4 counties. But we purposely tried to build a budget, and we do have some recent construction data from coming out of Volusia County. They almost built an identical size facility, and they're just finishing up now. And it is almost the same dollar for dollar, size for size, almost a clone of similar to what we're building today. So,
And what's the total cost?
the total cost is $18.65 million is what we've laid out. And again, that includes the contingency price and no cost for land. So that's a donation, again, from Santa Rosa. So there's a lot of value there. And your total commitment is the same as ours. Outside the $750,000, it'd be $3.86 million. You have the opportunity to not pay interest and pay that in cash. We are exploring, because of some of the conversation I've heard over here, we're exploring using our local option sales tax. each ordinance is different in there, and we're exploring that because ours is based on the type of service we're buying into. So ours is under public safety. It doesn't necessarily go where it's located or the entity. And again, I think our legal staff is looking at the nonprofit entity is owned by the 4 counties anyways. So although it is a nonprofit, it's owned by 4 counties, and it can only be changed by the 4 counties. So it is in fact a government agency and controlled by government. So.
And I spoke to Senator Broxton yesterday as well. He expressed that during session, he's going to go get additional money. Will that reduce the 3.8 if he gets additional money, or is that in the
Yes,
formula?
sir. Yes, sir. And I think I tried to give you some highlights. I think that would reduce your commitment by another $250,000 to $375,000 or more if you divided that equally. And that's in the interlocal, that any future money will be divided equally. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Just real quick, Craig, this is a smaller footprint than it was originally. Originally it was 29,000 square feet, $25 million. But from the experts and everyone, they feel this is adequate. As you said, Volusia just built something similar in size, so we aren't going to build this and then realize we've got to build on as soon as it's complete.
Well, I would not suggest that that would be the situation. I think we'd be looking at a decade more before any type of growth. The good news is some of our autopsies and stuff have kind of leveled off. Obviously fentanyl has been a problem in our jails. I know it's been your jails and through the general population. So those kind of issues are starting to level off, which is good. And I will tell you that the cost estimate was updated just before we finally approved this interlocal to make sure the numbers are as close as they can.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that again, even the experts and those that are in accreditation and those that design it, they still feel this is adequate size facility, and we aren't underbuilding just to try to save money.
Yes, sir. We're effectively doubling the capacity of our current facility.
All right, thank you.
Actually, Commissioner Miller, I could comment on that, because I looked at the amount of spaces you have related and the number of autopsies you do. It's well within the standards. I had to express that concern. I thought it was a little bigger than in the past, but it's definitely within guidelines for accreditation.
All right, Board, I think the first 2 items were kind of dismissed without needing, action or vote tonight. Craig, you planning on staying this evening? Or are you headed back?
I will come back tonight if it calls for it, yes, sir. Or I would love a vote.
Yeah, well,
today.
I mean,
Either way.
Well, we can't really take action this morning. The first 2 items we discussed I don't think they need action to be taken. If you're looking for action to be taken on this, it'd probably be in attendance this evening.
Yes, sir.
All right, Board, anything else before we adjourn this morning? Come back, we have attorney-client, I'm sorry. Before that, we have pictures at 3:10. Christmas, I believe.
Where is that, out front?
I'm not sure.
Where? Huh?
I'm not sure where they are.
Lobby? Okay.
Where? In the chambers, okay. 10 after 3 in the chambers.
Okay.
All right, Board.
Are we going to talk about any of the county attorney stuff, or do you want to do that tonight, or county attorney's report?
I thought we went through it. If there's something to discuss, I'm happy to discuss it now, Jeff, whatever you'd like.
No. Well,
I am going to discuss the Kinney case tonight.
yeah, that's the one. I just didn't know if we wanted to wait till tonight to have that conversation, or.
So that's on the action. I mean, we're going to have to take action on it tonight anyway. It
Okay.
doesn't matter, whatever y'all want to do. All right, let's adjourn.